Hey everybody, it's Dr. Goldner. We're just getting ready to be live everywhere. Just hang on a moment. All right, Smoothie Shred is streaming and Instagram is streaming. Sweet, here I am, I'm everywhere. Hi, it's Dr. Brooke Goldner and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. It's Wednesday already, everybody. I've been up pretty early today because I also did Wellness Wednesday live on a local news show here. So on the CW with Maggie Fleckno, she asked me to come back every month and talk to her audience about different health things. And once I'm fresh from doing that, I always like to bring the same to you as well so that you can get all the good scoop on everything health related. So what we were talking about today was actually Health Awareness Month. So I'll be talking about that a bit with all of you. As I've said before, and it's silly I should have to say it, but just remember what you hear from me here can't replace going to a doctor, getting evaluated. You can't take it as medical advice. I'm not talking about medical, I'm talking about lifestyle nutrition, but just remember that. Talk to your doctor before making any major decisions that can impact especially how your medications work. Before I get into the topic, announcements. One announcement that I can finally make is that we did set a date for the Rapid Recovery Group. I have been getting messages, and then at the end of Wellness Wednesday, I end up seeing questions I didn't get to, and they've been asking me about when we're going to have the group. We decided to go ahead and do one more 6-week group before the holidays. So there'll be one more group this year. Can you believe the year's almost over? So we are going to do an October group, and it's going to start on October 24th. October 24th. Wait, let me see. No, yes, October 24th. Sorry, I just wanted to check my calendar, make sure I gave you the right date. So for all of you who have been messaging me, who wanted to do the 6-week rapid recovery program where I coach you every day and take care of you to make sure that you get your health back, we did add one more group for the end of the year. So that's October 24th. So if you go to goodbyelupus.com or click the link for my resources, you'll see the rapid recovery group. That will be the last group of 2025. I can't even believe that we're ending 2025 soon. So anyway, make sure that if that's what you wanted, that you enroll there. As always, the last group sold out. So if it's something you know you want, just don't wait on it. I always feel so bad when we sell out and people start sending me messages begging me to take more people. It really hurts my heart. So just so you all know, you now have notice. Okay, topic for today for all of you guys who are coming here to learn and be inspired for free is as I said, it's Healthy Aging Awareness Month. And I really like having this opportunity where every week I try to think of topics to share with the public and educate. And so Wellness Wednesday really gives me an opportunity to reflect on the things that I think help people the most when I work with them privately through appointments or rapid recovery. And what I get back from most of you is that the coaching part, the teaching part has been the most pivotal for you in terms of making better choices. So I really like that. And on top of that, when I do my monthly TV spot, it really encourages me again to look through and see what are the big topics that are supposed to be going through the news? What are the awareness months that are happening? And it gives me some opportunities to be creative and talk about things that maybe you don't hear about. So I thought it was actually pretty cool when I saw that September, out of many different awarenesses that there was Healthy Aging Month. And it's a topic that you don't really hear about too much. And it's one that's really near to my heart because a lot of the folks I see are in retirement type age. They are in their 60s or higher. My oldest patient or client I had was 99. No, it was 100. He was 100. He came to me because he wanted to get rid of his pesky autoimmune disease, and he did it. But most of the folks I see are kind of in that age where they're finally reaping what they sowed in terms of their health. And that happens starting usually in the 40s or so, some of us earlier, but around the 40s or so, 50s, 60s, 70s, we really start seeing the impact of what your lifestyle has been on your health, your stress levels, your nutrition, your exercise, all of those things, how it's actually impacted your health. You really start to see it show up in that age as we're getting into the older years. And it always breaks my heart when I see someone who had dreams that they were going to travel through Europe when they retired. They were going to see the world. And instead, they're seeing doctors every week, another white coat. And I often have to sit them down and really say that to them, that listen, you have a moment, you have an opportunity right now where you can change the course of your life. You can keep eating whatever you want, being sedentary and doing the things you're doing. You'll have a shorter life, you'll have a more painful life, and you'll be hanging around with a lot of doctors who are, some of them are not going to be as entertaining as me, right? Or you can make a drastic change in the way you eat, the way you treat your body, and you can reverse the clock. You can get health back. You can raise your kidney function, lower your cholesterol, lower your blood pressure, increase your mobility, increase your bone density, and literally get younger and have a great retirement, a great rest of your life. And so while many people don't come to me until they're actually sick, I think talking about healthy aging is so important. We have a population that in many ways is some of the oldest that we've ever had, but they're not having a quality of life. You know, my grandmother used to always say with her little accent, I want to live as long as I'm healthy. That's what she used to say to me. I want to live as long as I'm healthy. And it's so true, because she would see friends who, you know, they become disabled, they'd be in nursing homes, and she would visit them in nursing homes. And she's like, I just don't want that. I want to live as long as I'm healthy. And my grandmother had a lot of great habits. She ate salad every day. Her late night snack was an apple and an orange. She went for long walks for hours every morning. She had so many healthy habits, but a lot of folks don't. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what healthy aging looks like. Most importantly, you guys are not going to be shocked by what I have to say. Most importantly, diet. Hands down. Okay, hands down. Diet, okay? Your diet impacts every cell of your body. Every organ system is affected by your diet. You know me, a lot of folks who are listening to now, you know me because of how I've been able to reverse autoimmune diseases, right? So immune function, inflammation, arthritis, all of that. Also, how well your body has the ability to fight infections. The last couple of Wellness Wednesdays, I've been talking about that, about, you know, how does cruciferous vegetables fight cancer, fight infections, optimize immune function, bring down inflammation in the lungs, all the things that it does. Diet does that. Any disease that comes from lifestyle, most of them are the most deadly to us. Number one cause of death still right now is heart attacks. Heart attacks are primarily caused by diet and lifestyle, diet being first. All right. Across the board, cardiologists, when polled, agree that plant-based diets are best for the health, even though they also admit in the same poll they don't recommend them because they don't think patients will try it. Give them the info though, right? Or maybe because they wouldn't do it themselves. But we know that it can help heart disease. If you've watched my keynote, seen I reversed heart failure in someone whose doctor told her son to come say goodbye. Reversed heart failure in 5 days. She walked out of the hospital, has never been back, has not had another heart attack, right? Just because he brought her my green smoothies to drink in the hospital in the ICU. So we know the impact on the heart. We know the impact on the lungs and bringing down inflammation in the lungs. We know that it helps the eyes, whether it's birdshot uveitis, glaucoma, or even vision. That diets make a difference. My protocols have reversed all those conditions, right? So liver inflammation, autoimmune hepatitis, fatty liver disease, usually gone within 3 to 6 weeks when you change your diet. Kidneys, oh my goodness, the kidneys are so sensitive to diet. Every time we eat meat or dairy, it actually lowers our kidney function, decreases our GFR, increases our creatinine within minutes. So diet is going to impact every organ system. And if you're on the wrong diet, like a meat-based diet, an ultra-processed food diet, is going to increase your rate of Alzheimer's and other mental health conditions. It's going to increase heart disease. It's going to increase lung disease. It's going to increase liver disease. It's going to increase autoimmune disease, cancer, you name it. And again, the longer you've been eating poorly, the more aggressive these things will show up. And most people start really seeing the impact 40s and later. Some people are having heart attacks in their 40s. For others, it's going to hit 50s or 60s, colon cancer, all of those kind of things. So diet across the board is the thing you have the most power over that will make the greatest impact in the health of your body and your organs. But close Second has got to be exercise. And I don't hear exercise talked about enough. People say go for walks, all that, lovely. Go for walks. They're great. It's a good meditation. It is some level of exercise, especially if you are mostly sedentary beforehand. But usually the thing that creates disability in an instant is what? When somebody falls down and breaks a hip, right? Because they have low bone density. Bone density is directly related to muscle density. So if your muscles are weak because you are sedentary, then your bones are weak as well. And there's a much greater chance that you're going to break something when you fall, especially as you've gotten older and bone density has gotten lower. You can reverse low bone density. We've helped people even reverse osteopenia with the right nutrition and exercise, strength training exercise. Bone density can and does go up. It also affects balance. Why did the person fall and break their hip to begin with? Because their balance was off. And balance is one of the very first signs you can see in someone who is aging unhealthfully. I just had this idea that I want to make a video showing all the different techniques you can do physically to try to predict how old your body is physically. Would you like to see that? And I will do the test myself, and we will see how old. Well, we know that I'm about to be 49, but how old am I physiologically? Can I do these tests? And then you can follow along at home and see if you can do them too. And one of those tests is balance. If you cannot stand on one foot for very long, your body is old, your nervous system's not functioning properly. Exercise can help that, okay? Also, when you exercise, it releases endorphins, which is important for your mental health and your moods. A lot of people as they age are dealing with depression, and let's face it, younger folks deal with depression too. It also affects memory. When you exercise intensively, it increases blood flow of the brain and neurogenesis, branching of nerves and blood vessels. And it's the only thing known to increase your volume of your brain, because our brains tend to shrink as we get older. Exercise is the only thing that's ever been shown to increase brain volume. Are you convinced yet about exercise? I can go on and on and on, but that's just a flavor of it. So if you are someone who really looks after your diet, but you're not exercising, you're not strength training, I hope this convinces you. And really, I mean, when you're looking at people getting more and more disabled as they get older, fitness is just a huge part of it. So if you are someone who doesn't know how to exercise, or you have a lot of disabilities, talk to a physical therapist. Let them design a program for you. If you don't have disabilities but just don't know how to do this properly, go to a personal trainer. Go to a boot camp that has a trainer that can help you. And let's start working on building some muscle, everybody, okay? Other things that affect you, of course, sleep. This is why in my rapid recovery programs, what am I doing? I'm looking at how people spend their day. I'm looking about what they eat. And also I look at your sleep, which is important for cellular repair, okay? If you are tired, if you are not getting enough sleep, your body has less time to repair damage. And no matter how well you eat, you're going to be tired if you don't get enough sleep. Also, keeping the brain active. What tends to happen as people get older, they tend to retire and get bored, and things can go down really quickly. So I really recommend that you have hobbies. Now, hobbies are part of self-care, so we all need that. But I love it. Like my father-in-law, he loves to take classes at the Apple store. So, you know, like Apple that makes iPhone and everything, they have classes. They do. And they'll teach you how to access things on the internet, or how to, work with your apps, or different things about how to use technology. And he loves it. And he's 80 years old, and he just loves to go and learn about technology. And it's a way he keeps his brain active. He also still loves to play video games, which challenge him. My son will play video games with him, and he's trying to keep up, and it's really good for his brain. So come up with hobbies, ways to challenge yourself. Take a class at a community college. Go learn, go take an art class, learn knitting, learn things that challenge your brain to continue to make connections and grow. Another one that's really important, I had a session this week with someone that I just totally adore. She's near and dear to my heart from working with her in rapid recovery. But the thing that she needed most help with is, trying to figure out how to emotionally be as happy as possible and stay happy. And the thing that we realized is social connections are her biggest issue, because she lives alone. She doesn't have kids or siblings or anything. And so we were discussing ways to increase social connections. So of course, fitness classes, which you get to do two things at once, right? Joining different kinds of clubs, or even things like having an assisted living or senior community. I think especially for seniors who are not driving anymore, especially at night, right? They stop driving at night. It's harder to get around. that living in a community that has activities all day long is so important. And I know I would totally do that. I love senior communities. I grew up in a senior community because my grandparents always took care of me. And so I spent my whole childhood playing cards and doing water aerobics and all that, bingo. Like I was fully on the senior community schedule, and I thought it was really fun. So I think it's a really good thing to do. And the other thing is really looking at making sure you get your medical screenings. A lot of folks who see me, listen to me, have already decided they hate everything about medicine. They hate doctors. And I get this a lot during a session. I'm such a big fan, but I hate doctors, but not you. And I'm always like, it's like a little bit of a slap, but then a hug. Doctors serve a purpose and can really help. And I think it's important to still get screenings. So getting your skin looked at. I just had a friend in my boot camp class who just had a huge surgery right here to remove a skin cancer. She's super fit. Like she could totally kick my butt. She is really, really fit and muscular. She eats healthy, but she's still got a skin cancer. Now she doesn't eat as healthily as I would teach her to do, but she hasn't asked my opinion. So I don't force my opinion. But still, you would never look at her and see a health problem. But skin cancers, thankfully, they caught it on time. They caught it before it spread. But some skin cancers can actually spread into the body and metastasize. So getting skin screenings, getting your prostate checked, getting your colonoscopies, all these things can catch things early and make sure that you don't end up with bigger problems later. And if you combine all the things I'm telling you to do, they're not going to catch anything, or they won't catch much because you're going to be so healthy. So I really like it. I'll show you, we made a cute little infographic. I said what I wanted, and then Leo made it beautiful. So I'll show it to you. We used it on the news today, but I wanted to show you if I can remember. Here we go. How to share it. Let's see. Share screen window. Here we go. See if you can see it. There you go. Let me play it for you. Isn't it cute? So we brought that to the news today. But if you want to be like this healthy couple here, these are all things to take into consideration. And you might notice that these are things everyone should be taking care of anyway, right? This isn't new information like, oh my God, I should sleep, eat right, exercise, manage my stress, get medical screenings. I know, right? And yet it is something that I tend to have to remind people to do. And so I take the opportunity to do that whenever I can. So let me take this off the screen. Okay, so I wanted to bring that up. If you have questions about healthy aging and you want to ask about that or ask more details about it, you can use the comments here, and I'm happy to answer questions about it as well. All right, let's see here. Oh, so I see Moon on YouTube says doing power walking outdoors with incline Pilates and just put on music at home and dance. That's great. I love that. I love seeing people who are taking that on. Yep, Michelle on YouTube saying yes, lifespan versus health span. So important, really, really important thing. My grandmother was an amazing example in all things. Those of you who have been listening to me long enough know that she molded a lot of the way I live my life and think about the world, especially understanding trauma and quality of life and all of those things. But I've seen the difference in my own life, even watching people I love age. I've seen that, especially exercise, for example, people who have exercised regularly their whole lives, or for years at least, they look 10 to 20 years younger than the people who haven't in terms of their mobility and how they carry themselves and what they can do. My mother-in-law is a great example for that. My husband's mom has exercised every day of her life. She is an exercise fanatic. I'm sure that's where Tom got it from. But she loves exercise. And I swear to you, she's in her mid-70s. She'd be mad if I said her age. And she looks like if you just saw her from behind, you would think she was 19, 20. I'm telling you, she can still wear the same clothes she wore before she had her kids. Amazing. But she can get down on the ground and get back up. She can bend over every direction. She is completely flexible. She has no aches and pains. No aches and pains. So it's incredible how exercise affects her. My dad's a big exerciser. My whole life, he has always exercised. Even when his diet went up and down, his exercise was always there. And he is still running marathons. And he said he's number one still in his age group, but he said it's a lot easier to be number one in your age group when you're in those 65 and older category, but still good for him, right? So it really makes an enormous difference in how well you can move and live and enjoy your life on top of everything else. So don't forget that part of it. The exercise part is amazing, what it does for you. And it's what motivates me, because believe it or not, I'm not naturally drawn to fitness. I do love it once I'm there. When I'm exercising, I feel amazing. When I'm done exercising, I feel amazing. But when it's time to go to the gym, I'm like, Anybody really? Even though, so I always have to tell myself, you're going to love it when you get there. And sure enough, as soon as I get there, I'm like, yes, I love it. But I've never as a kid, I was just a nerd wearing a back brace, never exercised. I started exercising in college, really just because that's when I started gaining weight. I got off the chemotherapy, I got off hormone suppression. And so basically went through all of puberty in like 6 months in college as a freshman, put on 20 pounds. And it was the first time where I was like, oh, diet, exercise, purely because of looks. There was a function to it. Now I don't need to exercise for looks because my diet keeps me very lean. So the only thing that keeps me doing it is that I want the health it provides. I love the mental boost. I want the cognitive function boost. I want to have my bones be strong as they can be, considering how many years of steroid treatments I've had, right? So I have to use that on myself all the time and be like, no, you are going to be strong. You are going to be fit so that I can be healthy longer. So some people are just drawn to it. My son doesn't like gym workouts, which I actually like gym workouts, but he loves pickleball. He loves table tennis. He loves anything with a paddle. He likes basketball. So he will play any game. And every day at school, whenever he has a break, he goes and plays paddle tennis or something like that. So as long as you find something you like that actually feels strenuous, that's really what you want. You want something that challenges you and feels strenuous when it comes to exercise. All right, let's look at what people are asking about today. Let me just open another window here for myself. One moment here. Here we go. Okay, let's see what we got going on over here on the YouTube side of things. All right. Sharon, oh wait. Help, please advise your personal best stress relieving strategies, specifically any new ones since the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease book. They're all awesome, but don't have a tub. Thanks for everything. Well, you don't have to have a tub in order to do self-care. Here. When it comes to stress relief, there's multiple things you got to look at. Number one, what can you do to reduce the stress? So for some people, it's just that they're taking on too much and they need to start using other people to do some of the things that aren't necessary for them to do. Some people have trouble letting go of things and say, I always tell them perfect's the enemy of done. So if somebody else can get this done, and maybe not as perfectly as you would, but they can get it done, let them do it. We got to cut down your workload. Sometimes it's really just doing really an audit of how you're spending your time. One of the things that my husband teaches in my rapid recovery group is how to do a time audit, where you look at your day and your schedule and you figure out where you can trim the fat. Where can you take out things that is really wasting your time or places where you're not being productive, and really consolidate your schedule so that you can maximize the time you have off. Then there's also, how do you let the day go? So the person I just got off the Zoom meeting with before I did this session, she goes from working to mothering. Kid comes home, right? And I was like, ooh, we've got to put some time for self-care into that schedule so you don't wear yourself out. So there's different types of self-care. One is anything that's just relaxing. So the tub you brought up, that's what I like to do. I love a hot bath. When my muscles are relaxed, I'm relaxed. And especially with all the weight training I do, it sure does make a difference in helping soothe sore muscles. So hot baths are nice if you can do them. If you can't, that doesn't mean you can't do self-care. Although I did see an inflatable hot tub on Amazon. I think you're supposed to take it camping, but maybe that's glamping. I don't know. But you don't have to do a bath. You can do a foot soak. You can get a hot foot soak and put on a nice mask and put on some, maybe an essential oil diffuser, and breathe in beautiful scented oils and listen to beautiful spa music and soak your feet. You know, like you can create a little thing for yourself and a little space for yourself. It can be a meditation, maybe put on a guided meditation. It can be even doing something like yoga, stretching. All of these things are to calm ourselves. Going for a nice walk improves the central nervous system, helps bring down stress. So those are all things to relax. Then there's things that actually really release stress at a high level. And that would be things that bring in endorphins. So again, high intensity exercise really does make the difference. You see why I love it so much, or at least I'm willing to do it even when I don't feel like it, right? Also adventure, social time. So making sure you have some kind of adventure and social time planned for at least once a week. Not everyone has a lot of time every day to do big things. So I recommend you do something that's maybe smaller, that feels nice and relaxing to you on a daily basis. And then on the weekend, plan something really big to let off a lot of steam. There's a lot to that whole adage of work hard, play hard. If you work a lot, but on the weekends, you make sure you do something really fun. You know, you go play karaoke, you go sing karaoke, or you go axe throwing, or you go on a big, beautiful hike with your friends, or you go see a show. When you do something that's really like beautiful, amazing, fun, you invite all these incredible endorphins into your brain, which is going to make you happier and bring down stress, the effects of stress even more. Hopefully that gave you some ideas. All right, here, let's go over to Instagram. Hello, Instagram. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Kitty Frost, can autoimmune cause problems with the gums? Teeth always get a perfect score for cleaning, no alcohol or smoking. Well, not necessarily. Some can. I mean, there are people who have severe gum disease because they have an autoimmune disease called Sjogren's that affects the fluid production and can make dry mouth, for example. So it is possible. If you have no problems with your teeth, and it's just your gums, it makes you wonder if there's anything else going on. You know, I'm sure your doctor's asking, are you flossing? I love water picks because you can really clean everything out every time that you brush your teeth. So I like using a water pick for that. But yeah, the other thing that can affect it, but it would affect your teeth too, would be some people, for example, when they drink smoothies, will swish it around their mouth and it sits on the teeth, and that can cause some buildup. So I would say just use that straw and don't swish. But yeah, autoimmune in general, the main autoimmune that I've seen affect people's gum health has been Sjogren's, because the dry mouth really does affect the gums. And so people will tell me a lot, especially in my group, if they go to the dentist, they'll tell me, my dentist loves you. They said my gums are healing and they look amazing. And that helps a lot because gum disease causes people a lot of discomfort. Okay, let's see here over in Smoothie Shred. Barb Bird says, have you seen brain fog from autoimmune diseases disappear? Yes, and usually it's one of the first things that goes. People will tell us in the group, once they get past the detox period, is, oh my God, the fog is lifted. I can think clearly. I thought I had dementia and I thought I was losing function, and everything's clear now. So absolutely the brain fog lifts, whether it is from the autoimmune disease itself, just causing high inflammation and fatigue, but also we see differences just in people's, for example, if their thyroid function is improving in other areas. But yes, that brain fog does lift for sure. Okay. All right. And Aphrodite Crespus says, hello, I've been following your Goodbye Lupus protocol for 14 weeks and 3 days. My CBC lab results indicate a white blood cell of 3.3, red blood cells 3.89, neutrophils 44.5, neutrophils absolute. Okay. I'm dealing with urticaria that burns my skin right through clothing and causes itchiness of unknown origin. I'm not on any meds. I don't have a diagnosis. Should I be concerned about low numbers? And if what can I do to fix them? Thank you for everything you do to make the world a better, healthier place. You and your hubby are the best. Oh, thank you. So if you have been religiously on my protocol for 3 months, over 3 months, there's a good chance your inflammation has just become very low. So a 3.3 white count is perfectly fine. So understand that the labs are designed to detect anything unusual and flag it in relation to whether or not there's a disease or problem that could be related to it. So your white blood count realizes your inflammatory immune system. So a lot of folks are walking around with higher white counts because their diets are so inflammatory. So their counts are at a higher level, maybe it's 7, 8, 9, where it's not being flagged as high, like not as high as when you have an infection, for example, but much higher than people who eat in a way that's very low inflammation. So if you have really been sticking to the diet this way, you're bringing inflammation down, your resting white count should actually be lower as a sign that your inflammation is lower. So oftentimes people will have a count between 2.9 and 3.9, and they have no symptoms of anything wrong. And it can get flagged again because there are diseases where people have low white counts. So if that's your inflammatory immune system and it's low, most of the time, especially nowadays, it's not low because you are healthier than most people and have lower inflammation than most people. It's low because your medications are suppressing it. It's low because of autoimmune disease or immune deficiencies. But if you are doing something that's making you healthier, and as a result of getting healthier, that one number is lower, it actually shows you're succeeding. So a lot of folks have gotten so scared of that, and their doctor goes, oh my God, your white count's low. And they want to send them to a hem-onc doctor, and they're freaking out. And they'll message me, I'll tell them it's not, you don't have cancer. You just got rid of lupus and Hashimoto's and Sjogren's disease. This is the healthiest you've ever been. You just have low inflammation. And then they have to wait like 3 months to see a blood doctor. And then that doctor gets to go, oh, you're fine. And meanwhile, they spend 3 months in panic. So yes, if you don't have any issues in that sense, and that's the only change that's happened, it's actually a sign that it's working. Okay, let's go back down the other way. So I'll go back through Instagram again. It's Jasmine Ortega. Hey, doctor, my sister has lupus for years. She's spitting blood, and the doctors say it's nothing. What could it be? It could be malpractice. We have to find out the cause of the blood. What could it be? I have not examined your sister. I don't know your sister. Where would blood come from? First place it could come from is the mouth. Does she have gum disease? Does she have bleeding in her gums? That could cause it, right? It also can come from anything that comes up through the mouth. So is there bleeding because of issues in the digestive tract or in, so in the esophagus? Is it because of, so there are, for example, veins, blood flow through our throat into our stomach. And if any of those blood vessels are irritated or ruptured, that will cause us to cough up blood. You can also cough up blood from your lungs. So she has irritation or inflammation in her lungs. So it is not nothing. And if the doctor can't figure it out, then I would go to another doctor. If it's severe, go to the emergency room. Because, for example, in people who have irritation of the blood vessels, often coming from either vomiting or alcoholism, that could be lethal. Now, it doesn't sound like that's what she's having. That would be copious and that'd be an emergency room visit. But I would make sure you go to another doctor, ask for a referral, ask for tests. What are you doing to rule it out? I would go and see a dentist about it. I would go and see, ask for a general doctor to refer her to get tests for her lungs and her GI system, find where the blood's coming from. Bleeding is never nothing. It's a sign of something. We just don't know what it is or how serious it is. So hopefully when the doctor says it's nothing, it means they figured out what it is and they're not concerned versus they're just shrugging and not knowing what it is and not working her up. And hopefully she's better soon. I'm sorry that she's going through that. And I hope she's on my protocol so she can just get rid of that lupus. All right, let's see what's going on YouTube. All right. All right, let's see here. Ella Potatella. Any fine tuning if doing the Goodbye Autoimmune protocol for infertility, for example, DHA supplement, any ferritin, are ferritin levels important? Also, we'll be eating iodized salt with cruciferous vegetables, disturb the absorption. So this protocol has been very effective for people who are pregnant. We've had people reverse lupus while pregnant. So it's a good thing to do. It also increases the nourishment of the child. Not much a change. I do things like add a whole food prenatal vitamin just in case. and that covers the basis on all the other stuff. The omega-3s you've got pretty handled if you're doing the full protocol. And iodized salt with cruciferous vegetables, yeah, it does disturb some of the absorption. So if that's the only time you're having the salt and iodine, then try to also have some outside of that or use a supplement as well. All right. Let's see down if Facebook's gotten rolling. Here we go. Cat, hi. Oh, Glow, I'll be a part of it. Oh, you joined our next group? Yay. It's going to be fun. I'm glad we were able to get one more in. Thomas and I sat down and figured it out. Said, okay, we can do one more group. All right. Hi, Conrad. Let's see. So D Ladybug, suffering from a diverticular disease, any dietary advice for during a flare? It depends. When you have a diverticulitis, your doctor will often tell you not to eat at all. If that's the case, listen. Then I would add things back by doing water, and I would do smoothies using flax oil. Just make it as easy to digest as possible. Try to get your nourishment up as quickly as possible and get inflammation in your digestive tract low. Let me see here. Let's try to still find Facebook. Okay, here we go. Okay, Elizabeth Assine wants to know, does fruit spike insulin and glucose? As I understand from nutritionists and scientists, fruit sugar is the same molecule as sweet sugar, etc. That's not really true. I mean, the molecule of sugar, like, is glucose molecule the same? Yes. But anyone who tells you that eating fruit is the same as eating a candy bar because they both boil down to glucose is misleading you or just doesn't understand the science. Both of them is a reason to just walk away. The thing about it is, so fruit does have more sugar in it than, say, a vegetable. And I've done videos about why vegetables are better for healing than fruit. And that's one of the reasons, is that you could just pound unlimited amount of vegetables and you'll never disturb your sugar levels, right? But you also get way more nutrition. Fruit, you can eat as much as you want. You're not going to create illness. You're not going to create diabetes. Fruit sugars are combined with, so the main sugar is fructose, and then it's combined with the fiber of the fruit itself. So fiber affects the way we digest these things. And so when you eat fruit, it doesn't just create this huge sugar spike the way it would if you ate a bar of chocolate, for example, or ice cream or something like that. Now, working with people with diabetes, so even with type 1, I've helped them reduce their insulin needs, and with type 2, no longer be diabetic very quickly, which is always really fun, just to see how quickly. Usually within 2 months, most people are no longer diabetic anymore who started out in the 6s. I just met with I help a mother and daughter pair that I love to see on a regular basis, and mom usually had an A1C in the 10s, and whenever she'd get to 8, she'd go right back up to the 10s. And since seeing me, she went from 8.5, and now she's all the way down to the low 6s, and she can't believe it. So we're really excited because we are saying goodbye to diabetes. And all these people are they're eating fruit. They're putting fruit in their smoothies, but they're still losing the diabetes, because what you eat your sugars with also makes a difference. You know, one of the things that's best to look at is not really the glucose index, but look at the insulin index. The insulin index is not something that's been shown as much and studied as much by nutritionists. And maybe I could do a Wellness Wednesday on that, showing you the insulin index of foods rather than the glucose index. It shows how quickly insulin responds to a food rather than what happens to your blood sugar levels. And because the insulin response is what really tells you whether or not it's going to make you fatter, make you sicker. So for example, yogurt, for example, is lower on the sugar index, and so people thought it was healthy. But if you look at the insulin index, it's higher than donuts, which is why yogurt is still fattening, right? Because your body gets a signal from insulin. It's very, very interesting. So fruit does not have a high insulin index compared to other sugars. Donuts was high too, so don't think donuts are okay. So it's not the same. And so I do have people on mostly a veggie diet, but they have fruits as well. And while initially in the first week or so, as they're incorporating these foods, they might see an initial spike because they're still very insulin resistant. By the second week, all those spikes are going away, and they usually have to lower or come off of medications for diabetes pretty quickly while still including fruit in their diet. So, yeah. Okay, let's see here. All right, and Diane Hodgkinson's, hi, Dr. Goldner, I'm in Western Australia, so I'm thrilled to catch you in a lot. Oh my God, is it the middle of the night for you right now? All right, let's see. I love listening to you each week. Just a question. I have Crohn's. I'm trying to do your program. I really believe in the power of raw food. Unfortunately, raw food and smoothies seem to be aggravating the tummy. I want to get to a place where I can tolerate and heal them. I'm using the flax oil because smoothies aggravate. Really appreciate you. So it depends on where you are with this and what is being aggravated. So for example, if you have active Crohn's where you are inflamed, you're having extreme loose stool all day long, bleeding, mucus, then we usually have to rest the gut a bit. And that's the only time where I'll do any kind of fasting with somebody. But I do like fresh pressed vegetable juices. I don't like people completely fasting and becoming totally nutrient deprived. I've seen bad things happen. But for a bit of time, if we do that, at least you're getting some sugar in your system. You're getting a little bit of nutrition, nothing like smoothies. But we do it while also supplementing things that can help bring down the inflammation, like L-glutamine and curcumin and things like that. So I help people dose those things depending on their symptoms to help bring that inflammation down. And then when the diarrhea, bleeding, all that stuff resolves, and then we start introducing the food back. So smoothies are usually pretty good. I don't know when you say tummy's irritated if you're talking about Crohn's symptoms or if you're talking about just stomach GI upset. But if your Crohn's is not active and your stomach doesn't mind it, you don't have to do smoothies. Some people, strangely enough, feel better eating the salads and chewing them up than doing the smoothies. So you might want to experiment a bit with those. But see if some of that maybe kind of helps you along while you're trying to bring that down. And again, without knowing the details of what the stomach issue is, whether it's active flare versus, irritable bowel versus stomach upset, it's hard to give you that. But I can tell you our results with Crohn's are extraordinary. And these folks are often told to avoid fiber. In rapid recovery, whether it's 4-week or 6-week, usually by the end of rapid recovery, people are asymptomatic and their markers like calprotectin are in half or gone. It has been really thrilling how quickly we can get people better. So I start them where they are able to do it. And then as soon as I see that they have an ability to eat, we start increasing it and improving it. And it's really incredible what can happen. So don't give up on that. And if you need more help, we do have a group starting in October. So we did decide to do that, or you can work with Thomas or myself. All right, let's see here. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Let's go over, okay, YouTube. All right, Krista says, my TSH was found to be 6.5 7 weeks ago. I did Goodbye Autoimmune, increased iodine from 150 to 300, and after 6 weeks, it came back 12.1. I'm continuing with Goodbye Autoimmune. I've decreased to 150. Please advise. Christy, I will need more information. This might be an appointment. So one, we don't know why your TSH was elevated. So was it Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease? Is it something else? And without meeting with you, I can't evaluate that very well. So you jumped into the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol, but I don't know that you even have autoimmune disease versus something else. What I would say is typically when TSH is high, 300 micrograms is the right amount. Make sure you're taking it at least an hour or more before starting any of your foods, especially cruciferous vegetables. It might be absorption related. The vegetables don't, there's no harm happening from that, but it might be related to your iodine absorption, or there might be something else that's driving this. And I don't have enough information to tell you that answer. So I do want to make sure that you get more help. So if you want to make an appointment, that might be the way to go so we can check on that. Let me see here. All right, let's go back over to Smoothie Shred. All right. So Sandra Velasco Perez, I have Sjogren's and cysts in my lungs. What can I do for cysts in my lungs? So I don't know what is the content of these cysts. So of course, I'm sure if you know that you have cysts, you're getting them evaluated. Sjogren's and autoimmune disease in the lungs, you're looking at the right face right now, okay? Our protocols have been extremely effective. Our Goodbye Autoimmune protocol has actually reduced and eliminated interstitial lung disease and lung diseases caused by autoimmune disease really rapidly. In my rapid recovery program, 4-week and 6-week, we've seen extraordinary results. I've talked before about a gentleman in his 70s who got off of the double lung transplant list in week 5 of our rapid recovery group, and he had autoimmune disease in his lungs. I've had other folks with disease from Sjogren's and scleroderma in their lungs who have terrible chronic coughs, who stop coughing while they talk. After a week of working with me privately in rapid recovery, I had 2 folks who did private rapid recovery with that issue, where I just say, you're not coughing, and they, oh my God, I'm not coughing. And the lungs getting better, being able to walk again and move. So do the full protocol. And if you need help with it, that's what we're here for. Right, and let's see. Shan Mugapriya, I am in perimenopause. I have severe PMS, but I have severe memory issues. I'm following hypernourishment. I'm struggling daily. I have IBS. Well, I'm glad that you're in Smoothie Shred, and I want you to get some extra support. It's wonderful that diet has such a huge impact when it comes to perimenopause and menopause. I'm in perimenopause too. See, I tell people everything. And I've got to say, I don't really have symptoms besides the stopping of the monthly cycle. I feel like my normal self. I'm not gaining weight. I'm not having mood swings. Not having hot flashes. Feel really good. A lot of my patients and clients will tell me the same thing, that especially in my group, people say, I can't believe it, my hot flashes are gone. So being here and working on that is important. Now, if you have irritable bowel, is it because, let me make sure, IBS. So if you have irritable bowel disease, is it because of stress? Is it because of needing to make more adjustments in your diet? And so I would dive into the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease book if you haven't read that one yet. Or again, work with us on this so we can identify what are the stressors and the issues that are creating the bowel issues, so that you can eat in a way that can really get yourself healthy and feel good even as you age. Because healthy aging is very important, especially for us women. We go through a whole lot. Men get some changes in their hormones, but women, we go through it. The hormones are all over the place, and it's good to take really good care of ourselves. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Sandra. All right, let's see what else going on Instagram. Okay, so fix the puzzle. Hi, Dr. G. My daughter's 14. Her periods are not regular. She had eczema from childhood. Now it's less. She also had many dental problems and 10 milk teeth removed. I'm giving her around 20. And then it just ends. I can say that it's very normal for a 14-year-old not to have regular periods. For some girls, they're not going to have regular periods until they're older. Some people don't even have regular periods until after birth. I know I didn't. I was not really on a regular clock until birth. And then it was like, wow, this is what it's like to be on the day every month, right? So I would say at 14, I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you want to, you can always take her to a doctor and check her hormones. Eczema is very much, though, related to inflammation and diet, very commonly because of dairy and sugar. So putting her on a plant-based diet, getting some hypernourishment in there, it might be the difference she needs to take care of herself. And animal products, meat and dairy, have very high hormones in them, and that could be affecting her as well. So I'd take all of that into account, put her on a healthy plant-based diet, and then see what happens. If the eczema clears up, she's healthier, even if her periods are still a little bit off. But you can always see your doctor if you want to verify that and make sure everything's okay. Let's see here. All right. And Lapatis, it's a lot of S's. Can you have green smoothies while taking warfarin for a mechanical heart valve? So the short answer is yes. But if you are taking warfarin, also known as Coumadin, you are going to have to adjust your medication dosage to go with your food. That medication specifically interacts with healthy food. And unfortunately, doctors often take the lazy route, and instead of just saying, hey, we're going to have to adjust your medication dosage to go with all the healthy food you eat, they'll tell you, oh, just don't eat leafy greens, don't eat healthy food. no. So I've helped a lot of people reverse disease while on that medication. I do suggest to them, if possible, have your doctor put you on a different blood thinner that has no food interactions. Makes it so easy. I was on blood thinners for having mini strokes in my 20s, and I just did the injections so I could eat whatever I wanted. So nowadays there's more choices. They have ones that are not injections, that are still pills, that don't have any food restrictions. So I recommend that if you can get it. If not, a home INR machine would be great, or at least get weekly INR checks so that they can adjust your medication to go with your food intake so that you're not at risk of blood clots. Time is it? All right, we're still too good. Let's see. All right, so Kitty Cat Mama. Dr. G, I love you, first of all. Thank you for being you and putting yourself out there for the world. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. My question is regarding psychosocial areas of healing with autoimmune. Many experience being treated poorly or as a burden or the problem in the family, and it's devastating. I value your advice on how to deal and heal from this. Maybe it could be the subject of focus of a video. Okay. Yes, there's a lot of emotional burden to being sick. And sometimes I would say the family may not actually see somebody as a burden, but maybe they feel like one. And I don't know if that's you, because you're not saying it in the first person, but more like asking for a friend. So it can be difficult, and it's important to find identity even when you're sick. So what is my purpose outside of being, I'm not the sick person in the family. Who are you in the family? And find purpose, find identity. And if you're feeling like a burden, maybe even ask the person, you know what, I feel like I'm a burden to you. Do I need to get more help from someone else? See what they say. It might not be what you think. But sometimes it is. Sometimes people get burnout from caretaking, and you need to have other people to lean on. It is difficult to be chronically ill. Also, make sure you're doing everything you can to get better. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. I was trying to look it up. I'm like, what is that? So it says, rumor, you'll be a speaker at the plant-based power party in 2026. True. If that is Chef AJ's event, then yes, it is. I told her that, yes, I will come next year. I couldn't do it this year. But I said that I agreed that, yes, I would make sure to make time to do it next year, because she was very unhappy with me that I wouldn't come. I'm doing my best, everyone. I try to be everywhere I can be. But this one didn't quite fit for us. So biggest issue for me is I want to be able to travel with my family. We're kind of inseparable, especially after the past couple of years. And so if I'm going to go away for a weekend, I'd like it to be with my family. If my son needs me for anything, or anyone else in the family needs me, I'm going to be here. But I think that's far enough out that I could say yes to it. So thank you for asking. I'm sorry if I disappointed anyone by not being in Vegas last weekend. I've not been back to Vegas since the pandemic. Let me see here. Okay. And Trish wants to know, Trish Gorda, my question is about menopause, also menopause. Can using any of your protocols aid in menopause weight loss? I've heard this way of exercising, eating that have a negative impact. Absolutely. If you're eating a hyper-nourishing plant-based diet and exercising, then even with menopause, you will lose weight. That was, it was a thing when my husband is a weight loss expert. His book, Miracle Metabolism, is awesome. And he has case studies in there. And, a lot of times, the people who were coming to his boot camps. So he had the largest boot camps in Orange County, California. He had boot camps all over the place. He was very, very popular and very effective. And it was, many of them were middle-aged women and older women that were in his boot camps. And they would, blame, it was having children, even though their children are 15, 16 years old, or it's menopause. And yet when he put them on a diet and he gave them the exercise to do, they would all lose weight. They all got their abs back. They all were fit. No thyroid, menopausal, didn't matter, still works. So, it might take a little time because we have to get you fully nourished if you've gotten to the point that you lost your thyroid and all these things are happening. But there's no reason why you should just shift into weight gain. If you're eating, a high raw plant-based diet, where's the fat going to come from? It can't. So absolutely. And if you've got fat to lose, make sure you're doing fat loss exercise, high intensity exercise, whether it's cardiovascular high intensity or what I prefer to do, which is, going through like a boot camp scenario where it's one weight exercise to another weight exercise with maybe just sprints in between, things like that to keep the heart rate up. Those will work, and you will get fitter and healthier as you get older. And that's a really great thing. Talking about healthy aging again. And I love Nicole. Thank you for coming on every week and celebrating. I'm just happy to see you enjoying your life. So that's really good. All right, let's see if Facebook's come around and started asking more questions here. All right, let's see. Christina Deboucher says, is a long-term raw vegan diet that's 75% vegetables, 25% fruits nutritionally safe? Can a varied raw vegan diet, 30 plus vegetables and fruits, be followed lifelong with proper B12 and D3 supplementation? Is rapid recovery regimen intended for 6 weeks, or can it be followed until fully healed and beyond? We're in week 12 of the rapid recovery regimen with extraordinary astounding results, and we'll email you photo evidence once fully healed. So first of all, congratulations that you're having extraordinary results. I think you're answering your own questions. So I will correct you that rapid recovery is a program where people work with me and not something that you do on your own. We call that the Goodbye Autoimmune protocol now. That said, if you are following my protocols on your own and having extraordinary results, you're showing yourself that just changing your diet to eating the way I teach you is healing your body. That is what's healthy. I never get asked, is it healthy long-term to eat a diet where you eat fast food twice a week and meat and dairy at every meal? Nobody asked me that. But they asked me, is it safe to eat raw vegetables every day for the rest of my life? Heck yeah. If it can heal you, it can sustain you. So what does tend to happen though, which I think sometimes people don't realize, is the longer you eat this way, actually the better your digestion gets and the hungrier you get. So oftentimes what people will find is when they first start changing their diet, they are so full, even eating, 24 ounces of raw vegetables a day, or, like even a pound of raw vegetables a day. They're like, oh my God, I'm so full. And then a couple months in, they're eating a pound of vegetables every meal. So make sure that as your appetite goes up, your food intake goes up, your body's going to get very efficient at using the food. But yes, you want to stay on it until you've finished your recovery. And then long-term, you don't need to have all the restrictions. There's no reason to restrict fruit or anything like that long-term. So when people are fully recovered and healthy, I usually take all the restrictions down. So you want to add nuts and seeds, enjoy them. You want to have more fruit, enjoy it, no problem. But raw diets are really optimal nutritionally. I've got to say, I feel my best when I'm fully raw. The only reason I eat some cooked food is literally convenience, because I can afford the convenience in terms of my health. But I like to have my cooked food at night because that's when there's no energy rush to it anymore. But nutritionally speaking, raw diets are amazing, and you don't need to be restrictive once you are fully healthy again. Just keep all of the high vegetable intake as well. I have had people come to me who have been on fruit diets who actually did have some malnourishment issues, but they were like living off watermelon and bananas and not eating their vegetables, not eating their greens, not getting their omega-3. So yeah, you don't have to worry about the long term, but yes, stay with it until you get all your results. And yes, please send me your photos and your whole testimonial and let me see about it. Hopefully you post about it online. That is really awesome. All right, let me see if there's anything quick I can answer. Oh, here we go. So somebody was asking about menopause and premenopause. So this is what you're talking about, right? And it really does make a difference, right? When you're looking at, so see right here, you can see it. Your protocol was 95% effective in getting rid of menopause symptoms for me. Very occasionally, I still have a mild hot flush at night. Thank you. So there you go. Not for me, from somebody else who's had to go through the change. It really does make an enormous difference. People also tell me that they don't have any symptoms of the period. And oh my God, there it is. I swear I said it before I saw the comment. I swear that I didn't see the comment, but see it here, that I have my period this month, no cramps or symptoms, and I'm part of rapid recovery right now. And I can testify she is actually a part of rapid recovery right now. So yes, and that's what tends to happen is in rapid recovery, since it's 6 weeks, people who are menstruating usually have at least one period, and they'll go, oh my God, this is the first time I didn't have cramps. I didn't have PMS. I'm in a good mood. Yeah, it really does make a great difference. So, so that is something that you can do for your health. We don't have to suffer as we get older, and we don't have to see my alarm telling me that I have an appointment. So, but we don't have to suffer as we don't get older, whether it's because of menopause or whether it's because of, getting high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and all the other bone density loss. We don't have to go through all that. And so doesn't that tie a whole bow on the topic of today? Healthy aging is possible, but you are the one that has to make it happen. So I think it's a great way to end it today. I hope everything I taught you has helped you. If you came on for the Q&A and missed the topic of healthy aging, make sure you watch the replay. And I'll see the rest of you next week for Wellness Wednesday. I hope you learned a lot and it helped you. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Bye.